Okay. Greetings, Stalkers. It is I, Eurogamer's Ian Higton, and as you can see, I've set up shop here in the Exclusion Zone with my buddy Hamster, and we're selling the most important resource that you can find in the wasteland, and that is information. Knowing things is normally pretty useful in real life, but knowing things about Stalker 2 is especially important because if you've never played a Stalker game before, you will probably find life outside of these walls especially brutal. So hand over those coupons, comrade, because I'm about to tell you about 19 things that you need to know before playing Stalker 2. But before I kick this tips video off, I just want to beat all you citizen sleuths to the punch here by telling you that these are pretty much the same tips that you will find on IGN's recent Stalker 2 tips video too. Honestly, there's nothing nefarious about this. It's literally because we work for the same company and occasionally we share guides with each other. Hell, you might even see some Eurogamer guides on IGN from time to time too, so don't do what this fella did and grass me up to Kotaku and Polygon like it was some big games journo gotcha moment, because it really wasn't. Anyway, good luck, Stalker. I hope you find the following tips useful. Right. Now to relax and check out today's gaming news. What the fuck? Most merchants, like my pal Hamster, won't buy equipment or weapons from you if they have red durability. So if your stuff is about to break, you'll need to head to a technician to repair it before you can flog it for lovely coupons. You also need to repair your weapons before you can upgrade them too, so if you're wondering why a modification won't attach to your weapon when it really should, chances are it's because your weapon is a piece of junk. There are merchants in the world that will buy weapons and equipment that are about to break though, such as Ragman in Rostock, but they are an exception to the rule, so make a note of their locations when you find them if you don't want to keep splashing cash on repairs before trading. After you reach Zalissya, the first big settlement in the game, you'll find a personal stash in Hamster's shop next to the bed. If you don't want to lug heavy weapons around, but you also don't have the money to repair or upgrade them to make them useful, this is where you can throw them until you're ready. Like the magical chests in Resident Evil games, the contents of these crates transfer between larger settlements, so no matter where you find this miraculous orange box, you will find it full of the same items that you first stashed in it. The main story missions will clue you in on this stash eventually, but if you're a massive loot hoover like me, you will need it ASAP. And why is that, you ask? Well, just like in real life, if you fill your pockets with too much junk, you will become over-encumbered, which, unlike in real life, will cause a little weight icon to appear above your health. In real life, you'll just hurt your knees. Anyway, if this does happen, you will get tired from sprinting or jumping much more quickly than you would before, and if you're carrying enough stuff, you'll even move more slowly too, which sucks when you're trying to outrun a beast that looks like a testicle with a man's face grafted onto it. To avoid this, keep your encumbrance in the green whenever possible by depositing or selling any excess loot whenever you get the chance. If you're in the middle of a mission and you're nowhere near a shop or a stash box though, only take what you need in order to travel lightly, because otherwise the extra weight can easily get you killed. Anomalies are everywhere in the zone, and one of your key ways of detecting and evading them are these beeps that you'll hear. A lot of these will have visual cues, such as turbulent air, electricity on the ground, or wee coloured puddles. Most of these, if you can't get around them, can be disabled for a few seconds by throwing your bolts at them and then sprinting through the space in which they just were. Always slow down when you hear these beeps though, as it is very easy to sprint straight into something that might just pop you like a balloon made out of skin. The second kind of beeping you need to get used to is from your little yellow artifact detector, which you can whip out when you know there's an artifact nearby. This can get rather confusing if you're hearing both anomaly bleeps and artifact beeps at the same time, and it took me a little while to work out what was going on. So pay extra attention to the light on your detector, as this will line up with the noises that the detector makes. The faster the beeps and the flashing, the closer you are to an artifact, and once you get close enough, said artifact will phase into existence. You can also occasionally hear some traps before they go off too. Certain places will have tripwires with explosives attached to them, so if you hear one of those activate, leg it before you become legless. If you're a super beginner to the Stalker series, artifacts can actually be rather confusing to get your head around, but once you know what they can do and how to equip them, they might just give you the edge in the zone. Artifacts are relics with potentially powerful effects, both positive and negative, that can be picked up and equipped onto your belt. The better the armour you have on, the more potential slots there are for hanging anomalies. Always make sure to check out each anomaly before you attach it though, as sometimes the negatives may outweigh the benefits. Sure, you could gain a bit of fire damage reduction, but is that really worth the cost of constant radiation damage, no matter how minor? Anomalies don't give you radiation damage or any other effects when they're simply in your backpack though, so consider swapping them in and out of your belt depending on the circumstances you might be facing in the immediate moment. Once you know how to find them and neutralise them, anomalies can often be more useful than bullets when facing creatures that attack you from close range. If something is rushing at you, rather than wasting valuable ammo, why not try putting an anomaly between you and them, and then just sit back and watch them get torn apart. This doesn't work with humans or mutants that are too smart, as they'll just sidestep the hazard, but you can lure some enemies straight in. Eat lightning, testicle beast! This seems obvious, but even more so than other shooters, headshots are extremely important. Enemy armour may vary, but headshots can make the difference between using 1 bullet or 10, and when bullets are as scarce and as expensive as they are in the zone, it literally pays to aim for the head. Also, this is more of a rule for firefights in general, not just in Stalker, but try to acquire and maintain a high vantage point. Enemies can be very hard to see, so getting a chance to back up, reload and read your hit detector and compass to try to locate them can be invaluable, especially when alert AI seems to know where you are at all times. When you can't reach the high ground, make ample use of cover, and especially leaning around corners. You can lean by aiming down sights while approaching a corner, or by pressing the lean buttons on your respective platform. Cowering behind a chunk of concrete will hopefully absorb some of the incoming bullets, and this will in turn help to reduce the amount of damage that both you and your equipment takes, because when your armour deteriorates, you will have to pay to repair it, and this can get very expensive indeed.
If you've got coupons, I can take you anywhere.
Contrary to what you'll think when you first start playing the game, Stalker 2 does indeed have fast travel, but it's expensive and it isn't available until after you've made ample progress in the main story. Characters marked as guides inside settlements like Zalissya can teleport you to other settlements that contain guides for a certain amount of coupons. Uncle Leonya is the guide in Zalissya, but he can't send you anywhere unless you've already been there, so when you first reach a new settlement, always search for the guide before you move on. That way you'll always have the option to travel back there later on in the game.
All the way to Pripyat, if you want.
The usual?
Be smart about which side missions you take from Warlock and other quest givers. After selecting a side mission, sometimes the others will become unavailable after you complete the first, even if they gave you a few to choose from, as other Stalkers will be grabbing work as well. For example, when Warlock gave us an option of a few different missions, we decided to take out some bandits. Once we did that though, the other options were no longer available. This also happens if you inform Warlock that you can't complete the job, so choose wisely and act accordingly.
Well, what good are you then? Get out of my sight. I'll pay someone else.
Next time you come here, show some proper respect. I won't forget your insolence.
The quest log doesn't often give you all the information you need, nor does it spell out why you're doing something. That means if you're impatient like me and tend to skip through quest dialogue, or if you're forgetful like me, there's a good chance that, like me, you'll get pretty lost a lot of the time. If something seems important during a conversation, it probably is, so it could be a good idea to take screenshots of this info so you can reference it later, such as the lineup of certain factions and their leaders, for example.
Roosevelt is supported by duty, while the shark is backed by freedom.
This also works for the tips during loading screens. Look, I know reading is boring and all, that's why you're playing Stalker 2 and not reading a book, but these tips aren't just there to add a bit of variety to the images on the loading screens, honest. A lot of these are legitimately useful, so pay attention and snap away if you feel like it. Veteran stalkers will know how massively important quicksaving will be when making their way around the zone, because mistakes in Stalker 2 are costly, and a quick lapse in judgment can see you losing lots of time, money, or even your life very suddenly. For instance, fall damage can be pretty severe. If you're going to attempt to jump off a ledge, even if it looks like a pretty short drop, you might want to quick save first. Or even do a nice big manual save if you're feeling really frisky. There's a very fine line between completely safe and "Ow, I just broke every bone in my body" in this game, and if you're high up on a building or a cliff, it's always worth looking around for a ladder or a ledge to drop down onto. So whether it be falling, wanting to replay a quest decision, or if you've just used up too much ammo in a firefight, don't be stingy about saving or reloading if things haven't gone quite your way. Just like shop workers in the real world, across the zone, all technicians and merchants are slightly different. When you see the warning, the technician cannot install this upgrade without any other explanation as to why they can't perform it, you probably need to find a new technician for that particular item, because unlike in the real world, in the zone, the customer is never always right. These technicians will also charge differently for repairs as well, and the same goes for selling to merchants too. Here's the same piece of armour priced by two different people, about 30 feet apart. Now, one is a weapons merchant and the other is a bartender, but still, that is a 3,500 coupon difference. So, always double check the sale price before finalising transactions. By the way, some of the upgrades that you can buy are permanent, such as sawing the barrel off a shotgun or changing a Viper's ammo caliber, so keep that in mind if you're messing around with one of your favourite weapons. If you'd rather avoid bumbling around in the dark in the zone because it's, like, well, scary and stuff, pay attention to the in-game clock, located in the top right corner of the PDA. This clock can be very useful, and not just for saving your trousers if you're not wearing the brown pants on a nighttime mission, since when your eyes adjust to the interiors, the outdoors can look much brighter than they actually are once you step outside. If you need to pass time so it's not spooky o'clock anymore, sleeping moves you forward 7 hours, as well as restoring your health. Just note that every time you sleep, you'll wake up hungry, and you will need to eat before sleeping again, as you can't sleep with any ailments. Make sure when choosing the weapons you keep on your person that they use a variety of ammo types. There is nothing worse than switching to a new weapon in the middle of a firefight and realising you just used all of your ammo with the previous gun. Except for, I don't know, maybe getting your nuts chewed off by a man-faced testicle pig, I guess. Anyway, always consider keeping your longer range weapons in single fire mode rather than automatic. Save auto fire for close quarters weapons because in those circumstances, your targets will be much bigger. To quickly check ammo types, hover over your ammo or guns on your inventory screen. When hovering over a gun, the ammo type available for that gun will highlight as well, and vice versa. Certain enemies are more vulnerable to certain ammo types as well. Make sure you're using regular bullets for fleshy mutants and non-armoured bandits, and switch to armour-piercing bullets when you're going up against mutants with tougher hides or armoured humans. Unless you're wearing some rad-proof gear, entering an area of light radiation will slowly start to affect you, in a bad way, as soon as you blunder into it. If you enter an area that's too irradiated, your guts and brains will boil inside your skin and you'll die pretty much instantly. Or at least I think that's how radiation works. I don't know, I'm not a scientist. Anyway, when you start to hear the Geiger counter click up or see the sparkle effect on the sides of your screen, back up, chug some vodka and try to find another route. Or just do what I do and chug vodka in bed and then stay there because going outside and mixing with real life people sucks. You don't have to watch the eating animation play out for everything you chow down, despite the fact that the sausage eating animation is this good. You can actually just eat straight from the inventory, but eating too fast means you won't get the full health benefit of your food. Make sure to let the full healing amount go into effect before eating the next item, or you'll be wasting your meals. A great way to know if you'll need to eat again is by looking at the hunger icon. If the icon is still there but is more transparent, that means you'll need to eat again before it goes away completely. Weirdly, there's no poo meter though, which would be glowing red and pulsating violently by now if I'd eaten this many sausages in real life, that's for sure. Did you know you can stealth kill with your knife equipped? When Skiff switches his grip as you approach an enemy, that means pressing the attack button will do an instant takedown. Unfortunately, opportunities for stealth can be hard to come by, since enemies have like megavision and can see you through pretty much any cover, like you're wearing a glow-in-the-dark onesie or something. Thankfully, there are a few things you can do to help your chances though. First of all, crouching isn't as slow or as quiet as you can be. After you're already crouched, the walk button still works to slow you down even more, so you make even less noise. Secondly, turn off your flashlight, as enemies can spot that easily. And overhead lights can also be shot out too, so maybe pop those if you've got an excess of bullets and a silenced weapon. And thirdly, the compass on the top of the screen actually functions as a noise meter. The length of the blue line shows how much noise you're making. Here's an example of an unsilenced pistol, and then a silenced one. It's also colour-coded once you're in the presence of enemies. Yellow if they're nearby and don't know that you're there, and red if they do. Make sure you unload any guns that you find, even the poopy broken ones. If you don't want to pick up a weapon, you can still take the ammo and leave the gun there by holding down the correct button when you look at it. If you unload a gun while the inventory screen is open before adding it to your own inventory, make sure you pick up the ammo, as it will just separate it from the weapon and not give it to you automatically. Thankfully, dropping a gun into the sell window at a merchant's will unload the gun automatically, so you won't lose those bullets. Attachments and upgrades are different things in Stalker 2. Attachments such as extended mags, scopes, silencers, and even underbarrel grenade launchers can be taken on and off your weapon while out in the world. Upgrades, on the other hand, have to be done by technicians, and they often give some percentage bonus to a weapon's performance, such as stability, accuracy, or the ability to pierce armour. Sometimes, however, technicians will need to install modules to make weapon attachments possible, such as adding a scope mount to a weapon that you can then attach your own scope to. But hopefully by the time you've gotten to the point where you've found and are able to swap a grenade launcher in and out, you should be pretty much up to date with what a technician can and can't offer you. Wait, hold on. Let me get this straight a minute. So you're telling me that people call you Hamster because you store the nuts of your victims in your cheeks? Oh my god, that is messed up. Oh, hey there, Stalker. Welcome back. So, hopefully you found these tips and tricks useful. I mean, I know it's tough going out there, so hopefully this little informational transaction will save you a lot of grief in the future. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, please do give it a like, subscribe to Eurogamer for almost daily videos about video games, and why not click on one of these other tips videos that are on screen and clickable right now, while I sit back and watch some YouTube videos with my weird, nut-loving pal Hamster. Alright, let's see. What's on the top spot? Oh my god, look at this! Even H-Bomber Guy's gone and done a hit piece on me now! I'm not a plagiarist, I just borrowed it! Oh my...